I'll show you how it's done. Shazam!
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to our channel here in Underdeveloped, and today we are going to review John Wick Chapter 4, which in every sense of the word is probably the final chapter.
Yeah,
But I guess I guess they didn't want to spoil it.
John Wick 4 is about John Wick trying to finally settle his score at the table by challenging the Marquis to a duel, and the Marquis trying to chicken out by increasingly raising the bounty and putting so many obstacles between him and John Wick.
This movie easily was not my favorite from this franchise. I think this is highly overrated. Even though it's not. Even fair enough. This is like it is like a solid movie. It really didn't do it for me. Maybe all my feelings about it was personal, but it just did not do it for me.
Personally, I'd say it's my favorite of the sequels, but I'd still put the first one pretty high above this one.
That's what most people say. But why do you think it's your favorite sequel?
2 and 3 really just felt like continuations. They felt more like filler. But this, like, it really had the sense of finality. It really just had the sense that this was, like, more new things were happening. We had new characters who actually, like, really contributed to John's growth as a character. It's really nice seeing him interact with Kane and Mr. Nobody. And Mr. Nobody had a pivotal role in making the villain most fleshed out too, because a lot of the scenes with the villain are scenes with Mr. Nobody, like, bartering, trying to increase the numbers of how much John Wick is worth, a lot back and forth. It's kind of a running gag, and it absolutely works. Same thing with Donnie Yen's character, Kane. Like, you really feel the tragedy of this character, like, yeah, because John Wick, the last couple of movies, he's been a guy that's just been meandering. He doesn't really have a purpose. He's just survival. But Kane is a guy, he has they say in the movie itself, he's a guy who has something to live for, someone to die for, and someone to kill for. John Wick doesn't have any of that anymore.
That's exactly what the Marquis said.
Yeah,
but that makes the Marquis kind of interesting villain too, because I think it's one of the better villains of the last two. The last two villains are easy forgettable.
Facts.
Because what I liked about the second third when he kind of built up the world. And it kind of allowed Lance Reddick's character and Ian McShane's character to kind of shine a little more. And of course was the emergence of Laurence Fishburne's character, bringing Morpheus and Neo back together again. And it's overall just be gorgeous. Like the first one was cool, but the second, third, and the locations and the set pieces were just phenomenal.
Yeah, the sequels are beautiful movies.
And the sequences are just rose through the roof. Like the third one with the whole fucking motorcycle chase sequence, like it was fucking insane. Me personally, I like the third one. The third one is an action-packed, fun adventure. The first was obviously my favorite, obviously for obvious reasons. Had an actual motivation for everything he did. Even though I felt that it wasn't worth it. I don't think killing like 80 people is worth a dog's life. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like a puppy. I get it with the emotional connection between like the last thing his wife left him still. Nigga, a dog dies, so 80 people die. Like, come on, my guy. Like, come on.
It's the only movie where John Wick had real motivation aside from survival.
Yeah. Other two just like, well, the second was just about him like doing like making good on a deal that he made years ago, and then he kills that guy, and then the third one's really about survival. Yeah,
the third one is probably my least favorite, just because it just felt like filler.
Well, the third one was about survival because the end of season 2 was when end of John Wick 2 was when he got the excommunication.
I understand that.
So the third one was about survival. Which
it was. Makes sense. But like again, that's just a big part of what I didn't like about it, because it didn't feel like there was anything to John other than just I want to survive.
I liked it though because they raised the stakes because everybody's on his ass. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you can say the same thing about this movie too.
Well, yeah, but the fact that we already had a movie that this movie is mainly that kind of turned me off to it. You know what I mean? Like, because be honest, and especially in the first hour specifically, like this is a ton of action sequence, action sequence. Almost like John was just tired of just killing everybody.
Yeah,
it's like to the point was like, really, dude, he wasn't even moving that great in this one, in my opinion. Like the first one, he was really on like fucking Keanu was not moving. He kind of was like, I'm so sick of this shit. Bah, bah. Like I thought, I thought he was moving really very lazy.
But that, with all fairness, that does make sense because these movies take place like very shortly after each other. So he's probably still his wounds from the first movie that haven't healed.
Fair enough. They did add new characters, a better villain than the other two movies. Like decent side characters, like Mr. Nobody, which is okay, but David Leitch was behind it, so I get it. David Leitch directed Nobody, and on top of that, Donnie Yen, the main Kane, like one of the big antagonists. You know, I mean, he's pretty much a blind dude that's a master of martial arts, and you know, pretty much just like badass as John. Probably even more because he does have a huge handicap.
Yeah, pretty massive.
So he's the baddest of all badass. Pretty much Daredevil.
Yeah,
with his skills.
If anything given his age, you might want to call him Stick.
Yeah, and he has shades too. Yeah. He really could be Stick. Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why. I mean, he's most famous for playing a martial arts master. Might as well make him Stick.
Isn't that It Man?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's It Man. Holy shit! What the fuck is he doing in this movie? Okay, all right,
yeah,
I think he's because he's fucking. Yes, it is It Man. The fuck?
Yeah, it's like this is.
No wonder he lost. He went against fucking It Man.
Yeah.
Of course he was gonna lose. The fuck.
The whole sequence where they're in Berlin and he's fighting the fat dude in Berlin. I feel like that was a little too long. I would like that. There was a lot of them, a little more of this, just a little bit shorter. I feel like that's probably the biggest flaw of the movie is that I don't think it really should be this long.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a lot, especially in the beginning, that could be cut.
It would have been a lot better if you chopped off that first hour.
Yeah,
it is made about the trials to get to be able to face the Marquis in a duel. That's interesting.
Yeah, if you just rewrote it so you introduce everyone else a different way. That's
interesting. Yeah, because when get reinstated, that was interesting. Yeah. That whole thing, that was cool.
Yeah, because that's when the movie started actually having a plot.
Yeah.
Like the stuff in Japan was cool, but it was just like another action sequence.
Yeah, it is a way for him to beat up a bunch of fucking super ninjas. And it's like, I'm tired. I've seen 3 movies of this already. I'm done.
Yeah, that was just too much like the last ones.
Yeah.
But like once it's
kind of the same thing. This John has a gun and he has a super shot. Jump over him. Weave over this guy. Slide this way.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm done, yo. I'm done, son. And I like that he killed him off because I think, as I said, I'm saying this for John Wick is pretty much just a shell of a man. He lost his family.
And there's nothing to do if he was
he's nothing exactly. He's nothing to do. That's what I was saying at the end of the movie. I was like, this nigga's he's a shell of a man. So what else he has to do but to just die? He already made peace. Yeah,
I agree.
There's no other point for him existing. So it makes sense to kill him off. It makes sense.
Yeah. Even if they want to do more movies set in this world or whatever, I think John Wick himself should not return.
But that's what the second and third movie did. They fleshed out the world. So we have a whole. We have the table.
And that's what the post credits for this one was also doing. It was holding on top of that too.
And that gorgeous Asian daughter, gorgeous Japanese daughter, like she, you know what I mean, like
she's pretty as shit.
Yeah, she's gorgeous and she's fucking, you know what I mean, and she's a badass. So like, I'm down to see a movie with her.
Yeah,
sure.
It was like if it's her versus Ip Man, that's a movie.
Let me see that. Yeah. But 95, no fucking way. No way.
Nah, I wouldn't give it
No way. This movie's nowhere near that good.
I like this movie. I wouldn't put it in the 90s at all.
My score for this is either between a 79 and 80. I'm teetering. Between a 79 and 80%.
Mm-hmm. I'm giving this an 83, personally.
83? I'll give it an 80.
I really love a lot. Like, while this movie does have some pretty big flaws, it does have some of my favorite action sequences in this. Like, I really love the sequence where it's like this top-down view where John Wick has like the flaming shotgun. That shit's really cool.
Yeah, dude, it's not 95. No fucking way.
No. It could have been if it wasn't for that. It could have been if it wasn't just too damn long. It didn't need that first hour.
The whole chunk of the movie was just not good. I mean, not as it was the good. It was meh. It's more of the same, you know?
Yeah. Like, it's not that anything about that was particularly bad. It's just more of John Wick 2 and 3.
It wasn't really vital to the plot.
It really wasn't. It added like a lot of what happened in that first hour could have been really short.
Yeah.
Could have been summed up. This could have been a 2-hour movie, I feel.
Yeah.
And it probably would have liked it better. I remember hearing that this was originally supposed to be like an almost 4-hour cut. I'm like, how?
Makes no sense.
How? How is there room for more crap in this?
No need.
There is already too much.
Yeah, that's nuts.
No. This didn't need to be so long. But the good parts are very good still. With that being said, folks, thanks for joining us here today. Please, if you have any opinion on John Wick Chapter 4, please let us know down below. Also, which one's your favorite of the bunch, which one's your least favorite. Say whatever you want about the franchise. We're always here to hear it. But with that being said, make sure you hit that subscribe button, folks, and hit that notification bell so you're updated of all of our new videos.